How we doing, team? And welcome back to a brand new episode of the Simply podcast. If you haven't checked out the last one was actually a really good podcast, so make sure you check it out. Today, I am joined by another special guest, someone I've watched for quite a wee while. He's been on Twitch and YouTube. He's been on YouTube for yonks. And his name is none other than the great Nanj. Nanj, how are we, mate?
I am doing good. I'm very excited about this because I get to do my favourite thing and just waffle for a bit.
Waffle.
Very happy to be here.
Absolutely. I mean, everyone knows that I love to waffle. It's one of the reasons why I started the podcast, obviously. I mean, I should just it should be called The Waffling, but in fairness, there's another podcast called that. So, yeah, I couldn't take that one. But yes, team, if you are new to the channel or will listen on Spotify, whatnot, make sure you follow the podcast. And if you are on YouTube, please do click that subscribe button. It does help out massively. And let me know what you think of Nanj as well. Obviously, he's got a lot of interesting things to say. There's one of the reasons why I got him on, because there's a lot of really stuff that I think you're all gonna love to know about. And also you're gonna get to learn about a fantastic content creator as well. And all his links will be in the description below if you're watching on YouTube. And if you're on Spotify, make sure you check out the socials that will be in the description as well. But without further ado, we're gonna go straight into the kind of podcast. Yeah, obviously for those that don't know, we're about half an hour late recording on this because it's what it is. It's just like
Mornings are difficult.
Yeah, mornings are difficult. Yes, that's a meme, isn't it? So yeah, obviously what I usually do with content creators and stuff. Like first question's pretty much the obvious one. What got you into content creation? If actually, you know what,
Right.
I'm gonna start off with something different. Actually,
Okay.
describe yourself to the viewers and stuff like what kind of content do you like to make? Kind of describe it the best way you can.
I mean, from the most basic point, I'd just say it's just any content that I'll enjoy first and foremost.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously, like more in detail, I'm a big F1 fan. I'm a big racing fan in general.
Mm.
So recently, that has been my love for anything to do with cars. I'm interested in. But other than that, generally, it can just be anything that I've loved. Like from them, I just do random stuff at that point. If I love a random game, we played Jackbots and stuff before, which is just chaos and fun. It goes there. So racing and anything else put together, add a bit of waffle, you've got an arm stream. Pretty much.
Happy days.
Yeah.
Happy days. Where did the name Nanj come from?
This one is an old story. So Nanj is, it's not any part of my name. My first name's Andre. My last name isn't Nanj, even though I like to now pretend it is sometimes because it's funnier. But it goes back to school where Andre was a difficult name to pronounce, and some people pronounced it as Andre or some other pronunciation. I don't know what. Some random person in junior school, I think, how old was I? Probably like 9, 8, 9 or something, made up a random nickname because they couldn't say my name and said Nanj. And I don't know if that was meant to be like an offensive thing or like a nice thing. No clue. That was what it was. And then it kind of stuck, and friends started calling me it to the point where everyone only called me that, and my teacher even called me that as a joke a couple of times.
Yeah.
And then, because that was just my nickname, and then as soon as I got to wanting to make any YouTube or anything like that, I only had one name in my mind, so initially it was actually It's Nanj, but the It's bit had to go because I had a Z in it, and I didn't want to think I was 14 again. So that's it.
That reminds me of an old gamer. My old gamer tag used to be It's with a Z. It's Spud UK's with Z as well. You know, Z's everywhere because when you were younger, Z's were cool. So yeah, pretty much, man. I mean, in fairness, the Spud part of my name kind of comes from a similar point as well. In school, I was shorter than all my pals. Like I just was. I am a great 5'5". As we were talking about in the previous podcast. So like yeah, I'm 5'5", and pretty much the year above me, there was a guy called Spud for similar reasons. So everyone just started calling me Spud. And mine just kind of stuck a bit better. It's kind of that I had that for the entirety of my school period. It was called Spud. And even like the college and all sorts afterwards, it was also called Spud as well. So it kind of stuck. You know, I had gamer tags, everything, and I just keep it in there. I do cater towards the Simply more now. I mean, the Simply part came from what was it? I was pro clubs, and I was looking at the leaderboard because I was looking for inspiration to change my gamer tag from it's
Ooh.
Spud UK's, and I saw clan that was like simply on there, and I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna take that. Or it was like simple, and then I was like, you know what, I could do simply, and then that's basically where that's come from. That pro clubs leaderboards were a great place to go for inspiration. If you wanted to change your gamer tag, pro clubs leaderboards, they like listen. There's a useful feature you never would have thought of normally. But yeah, that was kind of how that came about. But no, it's interesting. I never knew that about you. Like the fact that it was just a random nickname that somebody just came up with one day.
I mean, yeah, some people I think of like I've asked a few people and they've now generally thought like, oh, that isn't your last name, because like on Twitter and Instagram I'll put like Andre Nanj as my name
yeah.
somewhere, and I was like, that's not your last name. I'm like, no, but it's quite funny that people now think it is, and I want to keep going with that as a joke because yeah, it's an older story to explain it though, but.
No,
It's odd.
listen, it's a good name because obviously, you know, I mean, I love to look at things like from like some markable kind of point of view and stuff like that. You know, Nanja's a good markable name. It's one word, so it makes things a lot easier, like going forward as well. So yeah, I mean, as I just asked before, how did you get into content creation? What inspired you to hit record or start stream for the very first time? Where did you start, and then kind of how did you get to this point, kind of thing?
Few stages of this. So
Yeah.
first stage is technically okay. This is a long That first stage is from watching KSI back in about 2010.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously KSI, huge YouTuber, does everything at this point now. I went one time to a family like get together, and obviously you know when you have all your cousins and that's basically all you do, like you just gravitate to them and stick with them at a family gathering because that's all you know. We was all there. One cousin had a laptop and he started playing some YouTube video. I didn't watch YouTube really before. I didn't know what any of that was, but he popped one video of KSI on. I think it was it was a video about Hesky. It was one of the first ones he'd ever did, and it was funny stuff then. Couldn't for the life of me though remember how to say his name because it was the full KSI GDVT, and I had no clue what that was, how to spell it. So for months I just didn't know. Cousin came back to my house, showed it me, and I was like, I liked FIFA back then. I was more into it a lot more. I've given up right now because it stresses me out, but I wanted to like kind of do similar things. Then I just wanted to copy it realistically. I was a young 10, 11-year-old and I was like, I want to make weird stuff.
You know, that's not even a bad way to look at it. Like, you always look at the best content creators and you think how you can put your own twist on it. It's not a bad way to kind of go about things because, you know what, from that you can find your own way of making content. But yeah, copying people that are successful is not a bad way to go about things. Just don't copy it exactly, like word for word. Like that's not cool.
Yeah, the way my 10-year-old self did it was, it was bad. I was a 10-year-old. The YouTube videos.
But you started content creating when you were 10.
Pretty much, essentially. Like, that was like, I count that as like a half start. That's when I got love for it because obviously that's where I watch most people. But none of it was good or serious, whatever. In fact, that YouTube channel is privated. Like, I still have the videos from then, but they don't exist anymore because essentially from then I just made every random idea I thought of. Any game, I filmed it with my iPod Touch at my TV and just said stuff. Essentially, like it was from making random funny things on FIFA or whatever. And yeah, that lasted for a couple of years. But it probably I count my proper start as 2014 when I actually got a PlayStation 4 finally, and obviously you could finally record directly off it. Like, you know, obviously you need an Elgato to do gameplay. And that was the moment where I was like, I can now legitimately do it. And I'd grown up a bit, so I wasn't as odd as I was at 10. So that's when I first started posting YouTube videos onto the same YouTube channel I have now. All the videos pretty much are still there, so even though they are embarrassing, just
to say, in my research for this podcast, I did go back to 2014. And I think the video I watched was... I think it was you playing Happy Wheels. I think it was the first time you put your face cam on.
Oh yeah, that's the one. I love that.
I gotta say though, you haven't really changed that much in appearance wise since then.
Yeah,
like I was like, this is 2014. I think the only difference is maybe facial hair is changed. But you've still got the same hairstyle. You don't have any wrinkles and whatnot. You look completely more or less the same. Just you've grown facial hair.
Literally, I rocked the high top from like a couple years before that, and I just stuck with it. And yeah, I don't look that much different. I've just grown stuff on my face now, which I think works. So yeah, here we are.
Yeah, no, fair. So yeah, no, obviously, 2014, you're making your Happy Wheels video. What other kind of content were you looking to make at that point? What did you branch out towards?
So initially, FIFA. I mean, FIFA was. I loved FIFA back then. I loved Call of Duty, FIFA, and I was a huge F1 fan. I have been since I was 8, but I'd never thought of making content on it or anything. I just liked doing. That was just my side love, which eventually became main. But yeah, that was on the side burner. I just wanted to make random FIFA stuff. I started to like develop more of a personality. Like you can see if all the old videos, it's less than copy, not taking inspiration from everyone I watch to. That's more like him. It's his own self now. So just experiment with like random career modes back then, random other Call of Duty videos. I've pretty much gone in every genre of game I've ever loved, just because why not? And had to deal with the embarrassment, obviously, from people at school finding out, which was interesting. Because obviously you don't initially want to tell every one of your friends. Like you might tell one that you just won't make everyone know and make everyone be like, "Ugh, why is he copying other people doing YouTube and stuff?" But so yeah, that was a thing for a couple of years. And streaming though really didn't come around until like I want to say 2017, maybe something like that. Because initially, for a while, I found my niche of doing FIFA career modes and stuff, and I based off my home team, Huddersfield Town, which is good. I did vlogs as well, actually, for Huddersfield Town matches, I really loved that period. That was actually quite fun.
I think I watched one of them where it was like more or less just posted up. I can't remember how I came across it at the time, but I think I've watched one, and this was like a couple years ago.
Yeah.
Because I also noticed you kind of tried your hand at kind of tech YouTube as well.
Yeah, because again, nerds in me is like I wanted to try that for a second, and that was kind of that was random actually, because I just kind of thought, well, I love nerdy tech stuff. I've always been into that, and then I'm trying to think the first thing I did, but I just thought, you know what, let's go into a really in-depth, fully planned video, because initially I'd always done like nicely, funny edited FIFA stuff or anything like that, which I loved doing, and it was more it was natural, but it was the funny natural side of me rather than I never get to like even just this. I never get to have the chance to just waffle about something else I love. It's mainly just a couple games. So I decided to film a thing reviewing something. I forget what it was. I think I did something on my iPhone once, like comparing my iPhone 4 to an iPhone 10. And then I realized I quite like this a lot. Even my brother watched, because my brother's a fan of like MKBHD and stuff, and obviously I liked him a lot. And he was like,
The cornerstone of tech YouTube right there.
Yeah, of course. And he was like, you're kind of like a mini version of him. Like, he actually really enjoyed watching it. I was like, yeah, let's give this bit a go. So that was quite fun. That's probably the most successful bit on YouTube.
Downside of tech YouTube is realistically you need a lot of money to kind of really go for it. That you need to be able to buy the tech. That's the issue.
That's what I realized, because I mean, if I had infinite funds, I'd probably still be I'd happily still be posting that now alongside everything else I'm doing. But I literally just ran out of tech that I had to do stuff on, which was good. But it was a great time, and honestly, the second I get another piece of like cool technology, I'll instantly probably make another video on something on that, because that's probably the thing I've loved the most on YouTube video wise. That was great.
Yeah, well, I think I watched that, but yeah, it was. I've watched a few of your videos from like different periods, and at different times as well. Because it was weird. I believe that we met just through a raid. I don't know if it was you raiding me or I raided you. I can't remember on top of my head. How we came across and stuff like that. And whenever I raid someone or they raid me, I always check all their socials. And I think at that point it was probably where I watched the vlog that you did a while back. Like I said, it was a while ago. So I'm an old man now, so trying to remember everything is kind of difficult. Old man at 28. So
don't say that. You're scaring me now. I'm only 22.
22. Oh, 22. You're young.
Hmm.
So yeah, no. Yeah. So obviously, content creation where it kind of started and stuff. Obviously, like FIFA and all that, and pretty much most people kind of looked at it. I mean, I started with a YouTube channel which is still up, with an awful name. I think it was Spud 94X or something like that. But the I couldn't use the numbers. I had to write it out. So it's like,
Oh,
yeah. Yeah,
that's the classic like first YouTube channel story. Yeah, I
yeah,
wouldn't expect anything less. That's brilliant.
yeah. And the channel exploded over one video, which was an Andy Carroll player review, from
That's brilliant.
FIFA 14, I think it was. And I gotta say, the card was unreal, right? But and it's the editing and the actual quality of the video is awful. Like, it is abysmal, because it's it's the end of it is probably what summarizes the entire video. I misspelled cheap and weak. The Photoshop on the card is got this little white edge going around it in like kind of shark teeth because of the poor photo editing I was
Yeah.
doing. It's awful, but it's got like 8-9K views. I think I can't remember. I've not looked at it recently. I recorded the audio of my webcam. It was it was interesting, you know. It's definitely it's a very memeable video of mine. And yeah, that's where like the kind of Andy Carroll emotes came from my streams and stuff like that.
It was
I would
underrated
have
for the
loved
longest
I
time.
would have loved Andy Carroll to react to that video. Would have loved it.
Hmm.
Just to see what would happen. Like, what would he say to that? I tried atting him a few times on Twitter. I never got a response, so is what it is. But yeah, no. Yeah, well, something I wanted to ask. Obviously, you do both YouTube and Twitch. What kind of content do you personally prefer? Do you prefer the
Ooh.
video side, YouTube, or do you prefer the kind of community aspect of Twitch? What kind of really do you prefer?
First and foremost, I mean, I have to say, like, I am a child of YouTube, so like, I love Twitch so much now and streaming. But I am initially, I'm a child of YouTube. I grew into loving editing YouTube videos. I'm happy to sit down and edit for like 3 hours. It's annoying to edit for 3 hours or something, but I'll happily do it. Because even back making like storylines in a little video, like I love editing the epic music when you think something good's gonna happen and then dropping it straight away and it's not, and all the like that sort of stuff. Really, I grew to love, and I miss doing it because I don't do it enough now.
I have to say the editing
Um,
you did. I think it was in your latest video with the bull ring. I think it was called the one with all the corners. The editing on that is very very modern. The way
yeah, yeah.
like if you look at the legs, there's kind of Tommy in it and whatnot. The editing looks very much like there's a similar theme to it. So yeah, no, it's very very modern the way you've kind of edited. And I'm guessing obviously the way you edit, you look at these videos and go, right, I can do something similar with there, and whatnot.
Funny thing is though, like honestly, editing wise, and I mean, I'll definitely pick up some stuff on what I watch, but I'll never directly like think, oh, I like that sort of style and take it. It probably just naturally goes in my brain, and then I'm just like, this is what I do. Because editing generally it's become the most natural thing to me, and I have no clue why I think that. Oh, suddenly that's gonna be funny. Let me just do something with that. But yeah, I do. The time I have to take to do it is annoying, but every time I finish, I'm like, I really enjoyed that. That was good.
Yeah,
But then,
I've got to
go
say
on.
there's something satisfying when you've edited something for ages, and then you go back and you want to rewatch it more than once.
Yes,
Like
that's
I think that's the most satisfying. Never mind like when you're actually editing and stuff like that. Even if you're enjoying the process, it's the end part where you want to go back and watch your own video again. That's the
yeah.
most satisfying bit for me.
I love that because that's when I know like I've had that for like probably the last couple of years of making videos now. That's how I've known I've really made something that I enjoy. And I'm not like, it's not one of those where it's like, oh, I'm just doing this because I know it'll do well. Like every time I end, I'm like, let me rewatch that fully and sit back and pretend that's not my video. And I've because obviously a lot of people don't like listening to their own voice back and stuff, but I've edited with it so much. I'm used to it.
Yeah, I hate it, even though that I've decided to go down the route of where people will hear my voice more than they'll see it. So it's kind of a bizarre choice for me, despite the fact I hate my own voice. And people will be like, "Well, this guy loves himself, like the way he waffles." You know, it's like I think that would what people would probably think, but no, I actually hate the sound of my own voice. But hey, is what it is. You know, like we can't choose our own voice, unless you're exceptionally good at accents. Which I used to think I was when I was younger. I used to think I could do an Australian accent perfect. Just go around to everyone and go, "G'day, mate. Skibby, get out of water." You know, go around to people and go, "You're right, mate." It's just
That's
no,
brilliant.
no. It was just constantly going to people, "G'day, mate," and I'm like, just like, did they even like say "G'day, mate" in Australia? It's like, or am I just taking the most stereotypical thing and just like blaring it? I'm like, what am I doing? I mean, listen, we were all young once, and just going. It was just weird. I went for a full phase of where I did nothing but say that consistently every day, and it's just bizarre. Like I was a bizarre child.
There's the things I keep those things with me. Like obviously, every weird thing I probably did as a kid, I don't still do, but that's the part that's a good segue into Twitch side now. I love how when I got into streaming and stuff, it was initially from just like doing career mode videos, and I won't lie, I got bored. I got bored of editing just career mode stuff, and I thought I still want to do it, but how do I keep going? So I streamed on YouTube for a bit, and I realized it's so fun to waffle with the community and just it's like I'm live making a huge like couple-hour video, and I'm just in the middle of it. I get to react with someone else about what we're doing, and all the little childhood antics and stuff that everyone just does and stuff. And apparently people enjoyed that enough to not click off and think, oh, he's weird, I want to go. So then I realized I actually quite like doing streaming. I went off to Twitch and streamed other things other than FIFA, and then I was like, I still like this a lot. And that was roughly about 28. I think officially 2018. February something is when I started streaming on Twitch semi-consistent, like at least a couple days a week, off and on. And then from then on, I realized there's actually some people here that kind of like, it wasn't even that loads of people, it's just anyone was there. I was happy to waffle. I'd waffle if there was one viewer and just back and forth for them. And yeah, that's it pretty much. Now I'm here. The waffle is the key part there. I realized people didn't hate it somehow, so I was like, I'll happily just carry on.
Oh no, definitely. I mean, it's one of the big things for kind of when you're smaller creator and stuff like that, particularly Twitch wise, but able to keep talking, even when you're on the one viewer, or like when you're on the one viewer, being able to continue to talk, because people don't like coming into the stream and nobody's talking. No, there's no actual interaction straight there. You can't interact immediately with what's going on.
That was like one of the biggest like. I remember looking at like tips and stuff for streaming, I think as I started, and that was one of the huge things. Like people, you don't know when someone's going to come in. The viewer live thing might not update live, so they might have come out so quickly it stays at 1, and you think, oh, no one's come in, but they just saw you not speaking. And the thing is, it came so natural. I don't know why. That I just filled time and space. It wasn't like, oh, this is an awkward moment, and I was like, and then just randomly say something. I've already started a waffle sentence on something before I even know it. There's barely any dead space, and I don't understand how I even have the energy for it at most times. But yeah, that was great that came through, because it was like, oh, that's perfect for streaming. You can just keep doing that, and you should be fine.
Absolutely, like it's definitely the cornerstone of any kind of successful streamer, has been able to continue to talk, continue to engage, even if there's no one there to engage with. You've got to put the fishing line out there, and hopefully someone bites. So it's the kind of. I'm full of those great analogies, by the way.
I'm loving them. I can relate a lot.
yeah. It's. I like to think I'm some sort of Twitch guru, but I haven't streamed since April, so It's kind of like, oh yeah, really? So yeah, something I want to really dive into a little bit, and something that I know obviously you're probably quite proud of yourself is your McLaren partnership. As someone who is a big F1 fan like myself, I know obviously you're a huge F1 fan, so this must have come round, and you must have been like pinching yourself, thinking, "Is this actually McLaren?" Like,
Yes,
yeah,
definitely yes. That's
yeah,
what it was like.
yeah. It's quite something. And I tried to do a little bit of I didn't find out as much as I kind of wanted to find out beforehand. So I'll need you to explain quite a bit about it. But I was looking at the kind of like the Twitch channel and stuff like that, and obviously seeing you like actually streaming from there, is pretty cool. Like, it's the fact that this is McLaren, and whatnot. And first thing I've got to ask right with this is, have you met
Yeah.
Lando Norris?
I haven't met him in person. I've spoken to him in depth in like a call whilst we're playing F1, but I haven't met him yet. Or Daniel. No drivers. I want to, but I don't know
Oh
what
yeah, no, I mean, I say Lando obviously because of his association with Twitch and his content
Yeah.
creation as well, because he's right into it as well. He loves it. But yeah, no. So obviously, how did this McLaren partnership shadow driver thing come about?
So, well, I'll tell you the moment where I first found out. Don't know exactly what I was streaming. I wish I remembered because I'd love to know. But I was near the end of a stream. It was like 10, 11 p.m. or something. And I got a DM, and I didn't know I got it. It was like I was seconds from ending, I reckon. And I just thought, let me just open Twitter quickly before I go, so I can just scroll probably when I've ended. And I see it says I got a DM. I check. It says it's from at McLaren Shadow, and I think, huh? Because I don't think, I think they might be now, but I didn't think it was verified then. So I was just thinking, who's trolling me? Like, who's trying to pretend they are them? Because I didn't even read the DM yet. I was just like, I'm ready to ignore this if it's not real. And then I click it while I'm live, and I realize it's very formally written, and it's just like, it's actually asking me. It wasn't to join them then. It was just asking me. We're doing a charity stream the next day, with Lando and a load of other like very sizable F1 streamers and YouTubers that we know. Like there's I think Ben Daly was there, Tiamat Marduk, was Arav there? I think he was there. Loads of people that I knew and watched regularly, and they was like, "We're looking for an upcoming streamer to join in that stream. Do you want to join?" And it's like, give me the times and dates and stuff. And I was like, holy crap, that's actually them, I think. So it's like, so I didn't say anything in the stream. I think my face was just like wide-eyed, like mouth open, and then I was like, okay guys, so I'm gonna end the stream quick so I can just like reply to that. So got in touch with them, and then was just emailing all throughout the day. Immediately woke up and said to the boss, I'm gonna have to leave work early, because it would have meant I would have had to, like, it was timing wise, it would have been at the end of my day. I would have still been at work. Like, I have to leave work early. Thankfully they said I could. So yeah, it was just a charity stream that was hosting for I think it was for Mine Charity then. Lando was there, and a lot of other people was there, and and Ian Wright and footballers was there. It was crazy. I don't know how I got invited to that, but all it was just us chilling around, playing some F1, and just chilling and chatting with each other and just having some funny moments. And I was just casually sat in a call with all those guys. A little nervous, can't lie. But that was fun. I want to say as well, like you're saying, how Lando just is obviously loves Twitch and everything like that. I forget as well that he's a month younger than me technically, so he's grown up around the same sort of stuff. He's completely calm and natural. Like I could happily just get along with him easily. Like he just sounds like one of my good friends that I probably would have known. So anyway, that stream was wild and crazy. I had a great time. I want to know I didn't actually lose to Lando in any of the races on F1, so just point out. but anyways, yeah, so that was great. I thought that was a one-off. I think that was about 2021, November time, October time, so just after my birthday. So I classed it as a birthday present. Anyway, couple months later, I think December time, I got another DM, and I first said after that first time, like, that's a one-off, that's never happening again. I told my best friend, like, that's crazy. And he said that could become anything. I was like, no, shut up, it's not. So they emailed me back again and said, we want to talk about some future opportunities? And I was like, okay, no way. I think it's what I think it is, but I'll find out. And lo and behold, they said, do you want to join the team as a content creator, like properly, and do some stuff together? And that was like legit. Contracts were sent, everything. I was like, are you being for real? Me? A random kid? I was like, yeah. So they were super happy to. And since I think we announced it February this year, which is weird because it feels like way longer, but we've just been going since then. It's very odd. I've loved every moment of it. The guys over there are loving it a lot. They're completely happy with me. I'm obviously extremely happy with them and stuff. It sometimes doesn't feel real, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know how it's come to this, but it's brilliant. It's brilliant.
It's man. Was I right in seeing a picture that you were at the McLaren headquarters at one point as well?
Yeah, so we went. I'm trying to remember. I think it was March or something like that. Now, we went down to, of all things to do, to film an Easter egg hunt in the boulevard. Which, if anyone else doesn't know MTC, it's like in the main boulevard. It's just got all a selection of classic F1 cars that they have out and show the real chassis and stuff. And you think no one's gonna ever be allowed to touch that, walk within 5 feet of it. And then we was just like, yeah, so we're going to film an Easter egg hunt, and we're going to put eggs in some of the cars, in the radiators, like on the rear wings. Like, you can touch them, you can go, not sit in them, obviously, but you can go in it to get an egg. I was just running around with a GoPro around F1 cars. I've never felt more awed in my life, but that was crazy. So
I think we've all seen it from like the Netflix series and stuff like that. I have to confess to you, right? I haven't been an F1 fan as long as you have. In fact, I was one of the subjective people that used to go, "How is F1 a sport? Like, why do people enjoy this?" And then I can't lie to you, I watched the Netflix series and it genuinely changed my perspective completely. Like,
on the back of it, yeah.
Yeah, like, I know obviously a lot of kind of core F1 fans don't like it too much. It kind of creates drama when there isn't. But it explained it perfectly to me and a lot of other people, like the ins and outs of it and why it's such a great sport. Like why it's such a great thing to kind of watch and get right into. And yeah, it just put it to me in a way that I completely was on board with. And I have to admit, I am a big Red Bull fan. I'm a big fan of Sergio Perez, which is not obviously not obviously everyone's first choice, but there was just something about, I think it was what race was it that he kind of went from last to first. I think it was Singapore. I think it might have been, or it was definitely a night race. I can't remember which one it was.
Oh, was it? I think Bahrain, like 2020. I think.
Potentially,
was he still in the racing?
But potentially, he went from last to first. Now, after that, I was
yeah,
wow, this guy is unreal.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I was a big fan of that. Obviously, I was a big fan of Ricardo as well. I kind of like. I mean, I know it's a controversial one for yourself. I think he should never have left Red Bull. I think he should have kept his place over Max, to be honest. But that was just my opinion.
Yeah, I love the guy as well. I love him as well.
A big fan of Lando. I love the fact he does this kind of stuff with content creation and stuff like that as well. I think that's amazing as well. And obviously you've seen a lot of kind of F1 drivers. You know, there's Alex Albon, the Charles Leclerc, all dipping their toe in the likes of content creation and Twitch and YouTube and whatnot. Lando obviously being the almost the cornerstone of that, to be honest. With his esports team and stuff like that, I've seen that they did quite well in Halo quite recently. So I've kind of always kept tabs on that as well, because it's interesting. It's interesting because a lot of this stuff wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for lockdown. I feel like I don't think I don't think a lot of people. I don't think the drivers in particular would have had the time to really do this. And Lando's used that time brilliantly to create. I think it's Quadrant. I think it's his. It's his. It's a great thing. Yeah, and in fairness, like a lot, like even my content creation, I didn't really properly start until 2019, was it? I think I started before lockdown, but I didn't really fully go for it until lockdown, kind of thing.
Yeah, I think lockdown was like a nice switch. Like if anyone was like getting into it, like even for myself, like everyone just could either go full send or do nothing, and a lot of us have, yeah, thankfully done well from that.
Yeah, definitely. And I kind of on that one. Where do you kind of see your content going? What would you like to do in the future? I mean, I'm gonna answer part of that. But I can tell you already that you want to do more with McLaren as well. Like that's definitely something.
100%.
Yeah, I know that's already gonna be part of it.
Well, I mean, obviously, I mean the things we've been doing there, the things I know we've like hinted and got planned at as together with just McLaren alone is extremely brilliant, exciting. So eventually people will see stuff like that. What we've got. So that's already gonna be hella fun. From my own sides, as well. I mean, Twitch side. I've been loving to grow. I've been because that was fair. That's still, even though weird, like 4 years now. Kind of technically being on Twitch from the very start, and it still kind of feels new. But I want to be able to balance doing that on YouTube because I miss YouTube still. Like I've finally posted again back on YouTube the last couple times in like a month or so. I want to have a nice balance of having that plus Twitch and keeping that community sides between the both of them. And honestly, from then on, just same as I always have before. Just keep making any content that I'm loving and enjoying. Like if I still want to make, like, eventually once I plan to get a new PC at some point, I'll still probably make a tech video on that. But still make funny random videos on a couple of the topics we've had. Like the last one I did was on a SETA course, and it was I just love the crazy natural chaos of the fact you can mod stuff in that, so you can do whatever you want, and it fits me down to a T. So that's great. Generally, the same path I'm on now, just leveling up more and more, doing more of everything. Yeah.
What a phrase that is. Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, you touched on it slightly before as well. So I would obviously you're 22.
Hmm.
What kind of stuff like? So you're saying before, obviously, when you were contacting McLaren, you were in work. What kind of work have you done? Are you in work now? Are you at college? You know, what kind of things are you doing outside of streaming?
So I'm still working now as part of a family business I'm in. That we've done. How long have we done it for? Well, they've for a while, but I've only been in it for a couple or so years. But I'm mainly just doing any of the tech side of managing like websites, social medias, admin sort of stuff behind the scenes, which is easy enough for me since I'm just fine and good with computers. But it's not a full-time thing I'm wanting to keep going on, but like I'm happy to contribute. It's a family thing, of course. So
It's a family business, is it?
essentially, yeah, and it's done nicely well. So I'll just keep up with that, and alongside that, it's because it thankfully also gives me the time to, because obviously a lot of other jobs you probably don't get enough time to do your own thing, which I can relate for, which is like anyone who like does successful content creation whilst doing like a 9 to 5 job on a regular. I commend them a lot because it's difficult to find a time out of it.
I think it really comes into prioritizing your time, like using it effectively. Because like
yeah,
I think realistically, everyone's got time to do things, but it's where it like I think the largest part of it is coming up with ideas.
yeah,
Really, that's the bit that kind of stumps you a bit. And you know what? When I moved into this room, because obviously, like, if you didn't know already, I've got my bedroom and then I've got my stream room, which is this one.
nice.
So when I moved into this room, I came up with loads of ideas. I came up with like, I think I made a book of all these ideas that I wanted to try. Podcast was one of them, and podcast is the one that I've kind of just stopped at because this is what I enjoy the most. I love waffling. I love doing this. And it was starting that was the hard part because I talked about it for a long time. If Staten's listening at the moment, he'll know full well that I was waffling his ear off for ages about it, and he was just like, "Yeah, are you gonna do it? Are you all talk?" So yeah, it was like, eventually I just hit like start record pretty much. That's the kind of the hard part. Sometimes just
Yeah,
hitting that
that's
because
the key.
like I had all these ideas, and I just wanted to put them kind of on a video. I started off with obviously doing the sport pod, which had mad amount of interest. People wanted to be involved in that, and it was really really good. I've kind of just diverted that away from Spotify a little bit, just because I feel like I like that one being a bit more of an engaging kind of stream and whatnot, and the video
Yeah,
of it will be on YouTube as well. This is what I enjoy probably the most is kind of chatting to interesting people, finding out more about them, and also kind of um just like this is the easiest content for me to make. Like this doesn't feel like me making content, and that's probably the biggest thing for me. It doesn't feel like an effort to have to I've got a recording to do today and stuff. I don't feel that. I feel like
yeah, that,
this is what I enjoy doing, and this is why I've continued to do it. It's also from the perspective that it's also good for kind of my mental state as well, because like I like to waffle, I like to talk, but the stuff I like to talk about doesn't often come up in conversations. Like, when am I ever going to speak to somebody like a customer just about content creation and stuff like that? Like, it doesn't
yeah,
naturally come up. So, I get to talk about all this kind of stuff, and it's good for get to chat about everything pretty much, which is brilliant. I love it. And it was completely new territory for me. I had to watch loads of YouTube videos on how to do it. That also is probably part of the thing that like using your time effectively. Because some people would have just started. I wanted to kind of learn as much about it as I could beforehand. And like how to edit. I was like, oh, how do I even upload to Spotify? How do I upload to Apple Music? I had to find out all these things. I had to go do the legwork, do the research, and find out. And you know what? Look, not every podcast does really, really well, but I at the end of the day, I look back at them and I'm like, I love them. Like honestly, I love looking back, seeing them, and
yeah. I'm glad.
they're satisfying content to make, because it's just interesting. It's just like I find it fascinating. Honestly, each individual one, I always find out stuff I never knew. Um, and it's like just then, I did not know that you were part of a family business right there. Like that's interesting to me. Like finding out about other people and stuff that you wouldn't normally bring up on stream or in a YouTube video normally. That's what I like to find out. I like to find that stuff out. That's the stuff I like to kind of probe at and go, right, what have you told nobody else? Tell me all your secrets, like,
That's exactly why I love podcasts as well. Because I mean, I've always wanted to, well, be on one like a few times and stuff. Because I like the other side of that as well. I like to just be able to let someone find out something that I probably not said, and there might not be a reason for it. There might be a reason or whatever, but that's like naturally just getting questions asked to me, and then we'll just conversate, see where it goes, and then these things come up, and I love watching it for other people. Definitely like doing it myself now. So
yeah, no, 100%. And you know what? What actually gave me the idea for this actually was Chufters, because he invited me to my first ever collaboration video, which was a FIFA countdown video. Now, me and spelling do not go hand in hand. So this was not the best video for me to be a part of, but it was a great video to be on, because Chuffs has made it so much easier. He kind of opened the door for me. I was like, this is how they do collaborations. This is how this works. And at this point, I think Chuffs has had maybe 5k subs. At this point, he's now on like 140k.
crazy, yeah.
Yeah, which is like it was mad, because like he came across my stream with like 30 viewers, at a time, and at that point that was like a million. Like I'd never seen this many viewers in my stream before. Actually, I'm interested. See, when you did the McLaren stream, how many people did you have like watching?
I'm trying to remember now. I think there would have been like I want to say 20, 30, 40 or something. Because it was fairly for them as well. Streaming side, I think that was the thing they wanted to fill the gap on. With Shadow, that they had people streaming there occasionally and stuff, and for little events like the charity stream they did, that was streamed there too. But nothing in between each like little event they did. So that was kind of what I got to come in and fill in. And so the Twitch initially, it had some loads of new people that I didn't know, and it was a little daunting at first, but I got to love it straight away. But it's kind of been, as well as me doing my own streams and going there, we're kind of also growing in that place together. So it's it's not like like 100 billion viewers. It's not a thing, obviously, but like it's not top level stuff. But we're definitely on a growing path there as well, which I'm loving. Which that's the main thing I wanted to um see and have if I wanted to join like a team and stuff, because I'd never thought. I knew obviously like there's in Call of Duty and stuff like there's 100 Thieves and all these organizations, and there's loads in other places too. I never thought I would want to, like, that would be great to further me, but I was never like, I'm not going to do one. But the key thing is if we had like a sense of there's a future project and a plan going on, and it's clear and we both want to go somewhere, I'm immediately down and interested, and that's what we wanted to do, like with this Twitch streams and loads of other stuff. That's why it's so perfect for what I wanted to have with it.
Oh, that's perfect, mate. You know what? It's always at the end of the day, right? See if McLaren do all of a sudden become massive, and say it necessarily, like, you're not part of the. See from today, say if you weren't part of the, you were part of it before, and you were part of the setup. Like regardless of what happens now, you were part of that at the beginning, and you've made your dent, you've made your name there. So like whatever happens now, you've been a cog of that machine that's made that run for ages. And here's hoping that McLaren do makes some significant dents in the Twitch world, because that'd be interesting as hell. I'd love to see like what else they do. See if they like, it'd be mad. You won't be mad. See if McLaren kind of Call of Duty or Halo team. Yeah, like that would be mad. Like I don't know. I just find that like interesting to see McLaren venturing out into that content creation world, and just like, maybe even come away from F1 like on a couple streams, just see what happens.
But that's kind of like a few streams we've done. I was expecting initially, well, before I knew we was going to stream, but before I'd had a chat, I thought it's probably mainly going to be around F1 and stuff, which I was happily fine with. But I was thinking, like, will we do any other stuff? Like, I don't know if that's what they want to do, but they're more than open, weirdly, to. I say weird, I don't know why, but like they're more than open to go on another game and just develop a community, regardless of if it's on F1 or not. So we've done. I remember once we did pro clubs on a stream, and I was thinking that they came to me and said, "Would you like? Do you reckon we could do clubs for a couple of streams?" I was like, I mean, that would be perfect for a community thing. We got everyone in. It was so fun, so crazy. It was unexpected because I was like, how's everyone going to react considering it's McLaren? You think only F1, nothing else. But that went super well. And we've since just tried loads of other games that aren't just that. And community seems to enjoy it. They seem to like it. And I love it. As long as everyone's involved, I'm happy to do it. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see them in like us doing something else crazy that's not just F1.
Well, you know what? I look forward to seeing it because I find it fascinating. I mean, I love Lando's streams as well. I think I watched it. And I don't know why I watched it for so long. Even though it was good, it's just not something I typically watch. But he was building Lego, like
I also was just sat watching that.
Yeah, like he's just building Lego, and I'm just like, this is a stream, like it's mad. But so you see, if you had told me like 5-10 years ago that people make content on literally everything and it gets views, like building Lego, like it's just it's like comprehending that is mad. Especially this it's also kind of weird knowing that this let's face it, well, Lando's quite well off. You'd almost be expecting them kind of using the best kind of tech and his F1. I mean, obviously he's got a decent F1 setup. But that's what you expect to see. You don't expect to see him building an F1 car out of Lego. It's just not what you typically expect. But you listen, there he was doing it.
Yeah.
And I feel maybe it comes from that kind of mentality aspect, because Lego is quite calming when you're building it. It's kind of like settling. Like I know obviously there were a few memes on the fact that KSI does cat puzzles, like cat jigsaws.
Oh, yeah.
Like you I mean, like you would have said, but you know what? Maybe because it calms the mind. So maybe that's one of the reasons. And when you're an F1 driver, you have to be calm. So
yeah,
like, you can't be getting kind of riled up too easily. So maybe like go into that place where your Lego building is maybe a place he has to go to in the F1 car. So there we go. But maybe there I've just sussed Lando's tactics. The cat's out the bag. There we go.
Suddenly we're seeing every F1 driver become on Twitch and just like, guys, so I'm building a Lego car today.
Yeah. There you go. That's the secret to Lando's success is building Lego. I have sussed it right there. Oh my god, I would love Lando just to react to this and just go, well, yeah, he's right. Oh, that'd be mad. But yeah, no. Obviously, I mean, the McLaren's one thing that that is mad. Like no matter what happens now, you can say you were part of McLaren's journey, and that is an accomplishment right there.
I think like the biggest thing from that was, as obviously I'm a huge F1 fan. That's crazy enough. I've been to a race now with them, and that was crazy.
You've been to a race with them as well.
So yeah, well, not in the garage and stuff, which obviously that would have been cool. But we went to Silverstone. There was just like, we'll give you some tickets, you can go there. And I initially, like, this was one of the years I was like, me and my dad, obviously, my dad is the reason I'm into F1. Grew me up in it. I remember watching it since I was 6, but I didn't know what it was until I was like 8 or onwards when I properly understood it. But he just put it on in front of me and just showed me it from early times. He's taken me to my first F1 race, 2013. We went to an F1 2019. So it was great to go full circle and be like, I'm taking you to a race now. Like, you're not paying for it. I'm bringing you there. We're going to go. That was probably one of the biggest, like, full circle great moments I've had, to take my dad to an F1 race and stuff, and we can enjoy it together since he's done so much for me to get me to where I am. Because essentially it's all him that's got me. If he didn't get me into F1, I probably would. This wouldn't happen as it did. So yeah,
that's amazing to hear. That's one of the reasons why I love this podcast. Like, it happened with Axe yesterday, the last podcast, where he told me something like that, and I was just like, wow. And that is just like that's a great moment to hear about. The fact that being able to take the father to the F1 is that's just something else. Was that, if I had to guess, was that the F1 race where Verstappen crashed into the barriers?
No, this is this year's Silverstone, actually. Yeah, so we was on the pit straight. We got to see a crash. It was when Joe Gagnews was on his roof.
That was scary when I saw that. That was, I've never seen an F1 car upside down.
It's crazy. It's crazy in person, because I mean, like, I've seen many crashes that are scary enough, and like obviously I remember like Grosjean's back in Bahrain when it burst. That was like, that's horrible to watch. Like, I'm not someone who's, I know a lot of people like to watch crash compilations. I think, oh, that's cool. I'm only watching if there's a crash, but like, honestly, it's a weird moment to feel like when something like that's happening. In person, it's like 10 times worse, because there's no. I love like having like all the commentary on. I'll have the F1 app with all the extra data and like sector times and stuff, so I can know where everyone is anytime. You don't get that. There's no signal at the track, really. You're not going to see that. The screen's far away. You can't probably read it. So for about 5-10 minutes, I'm just I can't tell who's crashed. I don't really know who's involved. We're just all squinting down the straight. Anyone who's recorded clips or looking, but like, it's a different way of looking into a race, and a crash is a difficult moment to like understand what's going on, but it's a great experience at a track when you've got limited info and stuff. Yeah.
As it oh yeah, that I mean, that crash that's probably the biggest one I've actually seen. Like, obviously I saw the Grosjean one. I mean, that one just shouldn't have happened. The F1 car shouldn't go up in flames like that.
That's horrible.
And seeing it on the Netflix series as well was it was like crazy, because he even talks about how he just sat in the car thinking someone was going to come get him, and he was like, wait a minute, I'm on fire. So like, it's kind of it's mad as well from hearing it from that perspective. And you know what, you touched on it just a second ago, right? I would love to know kind of how the relationship between content creation and your family is. Like, how were they? Like, were they always really supportive on it, or did you have to kind of convince it a little bit, or well, no? What's the thoughts there?
It's been from the start, when I was obviously like when I was 10 and stuff. It's just your son just randomly just doing stuff while he's playing games, so they didn't really care then. They wasn't fussed; they were just letting me do whatever. But as I did more of it, and then I obviously as a kid, I'm like, oh, as a present for a birthday, I was like, oh, can I have an Elgato? And they're like, don't really know what it is, but they're just like, sure, once they come up, like whatever it's how much it costs or whatever. It was like, yeah, sure, we'll get you this one gift or whatever. But once it was kind of like they was just okay with it because they didn't really get enough of it. They wasn't looking into it much. They just thought he's doing his own thing, playing some games, enjoying himself. But as it got on, once they started to realize it's many years later, left school and stuff like that, and I'm still doing it. So they're like, it must be more of not just like a random little hobby sort of thing. So they started to take a little bit of, I wouldn't say interest, but just wanted to intrigued about it, I guess. But they've never been unsupportive. They've never been like, oh, stop doing this. My mum was special. Well, mum and dad both, but my mum has said beforehand that whatever you like wanting to go on, she'll happily like support it. Like even if it looks like she might not understand it fully, and she's like, I don't know where you might go with this. She'll defend me like from if anyone was like, why is your son doing that or whatever. And she's like, no, he knows what he's doing. He's gonna be fine with it. And yeah, so I have to thank my mum and dad for that, because for lack of understanding, they've still been happily supportive of it. The rest of my family, that's close enough, didn't really know much about it too much until like recently. Like I said, my brother's a tech fan as well, so like he only really knew when I started making a few of those videos, and he liked those. But yeah, they've all been nice and kind about it. And then especially when we got to the F1 stage, when it was my dad and my brother and stuff who are also F1 fans, they properly understood then and was quite gobsmacked and stuff from that. But it's all been nothing but love from everyone, which I'd feel like I don't know if that's rare, but I'm happy I got that, because I know it could go south and the family could just be like, stop doing that, you're wasting your time, you should be doing this. So I'm very grateful that was how it went when everyone found out, etc.
It's decent because before Axe, I think everyone I kind of spoke to had some sort of resistance about it. Whether it was jobs, whether it was family members, there's been some sort of kind of resistance or kind of factor there that has kind of made it more challenging than not. But like obviously yourself and Axe both have very supportive families, which is amazing to hear, because not everyone gets that. And obviously it kind of shows in the content, because you're allowed to be your full self, just being able to kind of like go for it, which is always amazing to hear, because like I said, not everyone gets that. So the fact that you've got it, you've got that the tools to kind of continue from that is amazing. So yeah, no, it's good to hear. And on that as well, what do you think has helped you succeed in content creation? What is kind of helped you achieve to where you are now, and even getting the McLaren partnership? What do you think? Like what did they see in you? You think that has helped you?
I can directly answer, because I've never actually asked the McLaren guys like specifically, because I kind of don't want to know, because like every time I've like anything's done well, like if a couple of YouTube videos did well or just streaming in general, I've never wanted to directly ask someone, why did you like watch me, like, or why did you pick it? Because I kind of just think it's better to, I have the mindset of make sure you just do things naturally, don't force it, etc. Because that's the easiest way to keep doing something if it's inbuilt in your brain to just be you. So I never find out details, because it's like somehow whatever part of me is working for them, so I'll just keep doing that and it should work. But specific in the McLaren bit, when we had a chat not long ago, and was just chatting about how we thought everything was going and stuff. It was all completely happy, everyone was loving it in general, but there was like one of the reasons we like looked around and was looking for content creators and picked you as the fact that you could just like essentially waffle, my waffling capabilities, and to be able to like speak when there was gaps and stuff that there was nothing to technically speak about. Like to them, any other normal person probably would have stopped speaking for a bit and just waited until a new thing came up, and I was still mid waffle at something else. And they was like, that ability is something they wanted from a creator, and I was like, okay. So it generally was my waffle that got me into McLaren. You can say that.
That's exactly the answer I wanted to hear. I wanted to hear waffling because we all love to waffle. So the fact
Yeah.
that waffling can get you a partnership with McLaren, that is outstanding. I love that. Because it's something like, people sometimes feel a bit awkward doing it, and you've just told them there, do it, it works. Like, I love
Yeah.
that. I love that straight away. And YouTube side of things, what do you feel like what do you feel has worked there for you? Like, what kind of videos do you feel like have worked the best for you?
I mean, the latest ones on the tech videos, I don't know how they did so well, because that was definitely the biggest success. I think a couple of videos, or like one or so, has cracked like 100k somehow, and the one's like at 50k. And for me, that was unreal stuff. The most I'd ever got back before that was the I did the Huddersfield Town career mode stuff on FIFA. That did quite well because I don't know why so many people in my hometown and elsewhere, it wasn't just there, but like so many people were interested enough in that. The vlogs definitely did quite well. But yeah, it was the tech stuff that I don't know what a lot of people said my voice was quite good. Like they naturally listen to, yeah. So I was like, okay, thank you. I wasn't expecting a compliment on specifically my voice, but
You
I don't know.
you know what I had comment on my Andy Carroll fish? It was
Go on.
you sound like a dead fish.
Oh,
That
that's not.
yeah, that's what I got on my. There was something. There was another one. What was the other hate comment I got? It was the dead fish one, and then there was another one, and I can't for the life of me remember what it was. But the dead fish one is the one that I always remember because I mean, on that, have you had any much hate on your videos?
That's what I'm trying to think of. Like, I should have had a. I'm assuming I've had something equivalent to that. I definitely have at some points. Like especially because those later videos that did well, the tech stuff, more people have seen it, so more people have either said nice things, which is good, but a lot more. If I've made a few mistakes in those where I might have got a fact wrong or something, or etc. I think one of the most controversial ones, I say it's controversial, but like I think I was doing a review on like specifically saying how something on the Xbox, like one of the monitors and the settings didn't work with it. You couldn't run stuff at 1440p. One specific little problem, and I was like, I decided YouTube needs a bit of clickbait sort of title. So I was like, why? I don't know what I said, but it was kind of like, if you read that, you'd immediately want to watch to say like, oh, you're wrong. It's this and this or whatever, or backing it. It was definitely going to be polarizing. So there was a lot of people saying, "Yeah, that's true. It doesn't work on mine," blah blah. And then there's a lot of people like, "Oh, you don't know what you're talking about." Some probably meaner ways saying it than that, and that was
You
one
listen.
of the
You open yourself up to when you're
yeah.
when you go tech YouTube because although typically there might be no easy way of doing something, there's going to be that tech guru out there somewhere that like finds a way around it and goes, "Oh, you're
Yeah.
wrong. I've done it. Here it is." And you're like, "Well, good for you." So
Yeah.
it's just kind of like, yeah, that's the hard part with tech YouTube as well. And you know what, the videos were good because I do remember watching them, the tech ones. So here's hoping maybe down the line you're able to pursue it a bit more. Because
100%, yeah.
it's a hard one to do. Obviously you need a decent amount of funds to kind of to get there. Because it's all tech is expensive pretty much. I mean, don't get me wrong. Obviously, I mean, you've got. Did you build your own PC?
I did, yeah. I'm regretting that I built like when I built it, I wasn't making the videos on it yet. It was just before that, so I would have happily done the next one I'm going to get. I'm gonna try and do a lot more stuff on it because that was a very missed opportunity. I realized straight away like I would have loved to have done some stuff on that, but yeah, I will eventually be back on
Something I
there.
would advise if you're building your PC, can I explain how to build it? Because that's the one thing a lot of people need, like, want to know how to. Like, I would be quite comfortable building my own PC. The only part
Mm,
that kind of makes me nervous is the CPU and thermal paste.
yeah.
That's the only part that I'm like, I don't know. Like Axe was saying to us as well, is like that's the only part that really that would make people nervous anyway. The rest is all just plugging it in the right place.
Yeah.
Um,
Speaking on that, like, I would love to do like a sort of semi-explaining, like putting the PC together and stuff as I'm going through it. But like, I think that's with most of the content I've done, I've not never necessarily like researched a topic. I've never gone into one thinking I don't know anything. I'm just gonna find out everything on the spot and then make a video on it as if I know it. Everything I've done is somewhat of an interest there. Of like, I know what I think I know, and I'm not gonna double check anything else. I'm gonna trust that I know what I knew. Which, yeah, that's where with the tech side, other videos like on FIFA and stuff, if you know what you need to know, it's more entertainment. But with tech side, if you get something wrong, there will be someone out there to try and prove you like wrong, and they will let you know, which is it's scary, but it comes with it. And
I mean, I mean, what was something I love about hate comments, right? I do. They'll come in and they'll comment on the video, and I'm just like, cheers for the engagement. Like, you know,
I was saying that. Yeah,
like I'm like, you've come in, you've obviously something in the video is clicked with you, so obviously I've said something that is engaged, and therefore you've decided to engage back. So therefore you're helping my video. So thank you. So it's one of the things. I mean, it happens with Twitter as well. People engage with that, give you hate. Yep, there's engagement. Love it. Obviously, I would love people to say more nice things, but listen, beggars can't be choosers. You know, at the end of the day, if you want to say something, you say it. So it is what it is. I mean, obviously, it happens a little fair bit because obviously I did do the sport pod. A little well, I did another one fairly recently. People always disagree with sport because it's just the way things are. Like, you know, I could say Thierry Henry is the best player in the world. Someone go, no, it's Ronaldo. You know, it's like, you know, it's all controversial that way.
yeah.
I mean, I'm a massive fan of Michael Jordan, and obviously the debate comes with obviously Michael Jordan and LeBron. You know, so it's always controversial, and people will always say what they think on that. You know, people will always argue and say, "No, you're wrong," even though there's no kind of actual way to prove that you're wrong, really, because unless Michael Jordan was to get a time machine and age himself back, you know, 20, 30 years, we're never gonna know.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
I had the same sort of thing with I mean, last season in F1 on Twitter as well was crazy because like obviously that year was actually quite good for me in general. Like, I was loads more new people was always in and around the streams and stuff, which is great. But specifically, obviously the controversy between Lewis and Max coming together every 4 seconds, and on track and stuff, it was a bit heated, but like it was off track. But I've always said 2021 was one of the best seasons I've seen racing wise on track, but the worst season off track for anything else, because every time I go onto Twitter, I'll say I'm more of a Lewis fan, have been since I started, but I'll happily respect anyone and everyone. I'm not a hater of someone or something, but if I went on Twitter and saw anyone say anything about Lewis, tons of Max fans coming straight in, doing whatever, saying bad stuff and just hurling abuse, vice versa. Say anything good about Max, Lewis fans coming, and it was horrible. I couldn't go onto Twitter like I used to in past years and say an opinion and just casually talk about it, like what we could do here. Like, if I said that before, even in streams, it became a thing. If I said anything about Lewis and Max, I knew it was going to start a bad discussion in the chat, and I had to avoid saying anything. It even got to the point in my Discord where I specifically mentioned, I think before Abu Dhabi, because obviously I knew it's going to be close and tied, that I said in the Discord, like, no, like, every one of you, like, I want you guys in Discord to be the civil group of my community at least. Like, don't go off and start. I don't want to come back after the race and see everyone screaming and stuff, which thankfully they didn't. It was fine.
I mean, that must be a difficult, because that was like, I'm gonna call you out on this one. What was your view on what happened?
I haven't talked about this in a while. Yeah, I mean, I will say. Firstly, I'll say it's not to do with the drivers. They're fine. Max is fine. Lewis is fine. I would have been. I'm a Lewis fan, but I would have been fine if Max won it because he did well. My only problem with all of that, it's I think most agree, is with whatever the hell happened in stewarding rooms with rules and stuff. That I can't. It's done now. I can't change anything about it. I'm not going to want to like redo the thing and stuff. It is what it is. But I never want to see such an error of stuff go on up there again that screws anyone else over. It was painful to watch that happen, knowing like I can't be seeing anyone pick and choose how many lap cars you let through and changing the rules and stuff, and that whatever the rule is, whoever it affects, I can't see that one really ground my gears in that. And yeah, it's stressful and tough because I think a lot of people as well, if any Lewis fan is, or just whoever's supporting him then, was upset about that, immediately they're going on saying, oh, you just don't like Max, you don't think he's winning. Like, that's my problem is not there. Yeah, my problem was just whatever happened up there, which I'm glad I think is never going to happen again. I hope.
Yeah, it all could have been avoided. See if Lewis had come in to change his tires.
The fear,
If he had changed his tires, they would have been at the same place anyway, pretty much. So it wouldn't have mattered as much. So yeah, it's kind of
it's annoying because it kind of marred a good season. Like
it did, but you know what? The controversy also made it really good because it put so many eyes on it that F1 grew exponentially. It's a kind of like it's the grey area of kind of the thing. So like it's not good from the perspective of the fact that it's like it for the core fans. This shouldn't have happened, but from the new fans' perspective, this is tasty stuff. People want to eat more of it. They want to kind of get have that more. They love controversy, and it's what helped grows the sport. So at the end of the day, it's helped massively that way.
That's why I loved Drive to Survive coming in, because I was like, a lot of people was like just generally hated. Like I'll admit, I'm a fan who likes I like knowing a lot. Like I like knowledge and I love learning about all the era and stuff, how it works. I'm a nerd on that side now, but I hated the ones who then went from there and started to gatekeep and saying, oh, you don't know how a rear wing works, or you don't know every champion before 1970. I'm like, I would just love if a million people loved F1. I don't care if you've watched it for 4 seconds and you just like cars going meow, or you know everything. I'll engage with you no matter who you are. That's a dream for me.
It's also F1. The YouTube boxing. That's the other one that gets people riled up because of obviously the fact that you get the boxing purists, the ones that are really interested in the world champion and kind of the build up to that. They love it, but then they've got these kind of foreign elements coming in from it's Jake Paul, it's KSI, it's these guys coming in that are don't have the mindset. This is probably the biggest difference between YouTube boxing and actual boxing is the mindset. I think Eddie Hearn put it perfectly, in the sense that if you've got proper boxers in there, they have the killer instinct. That they go into that ring fully content that they could die at that point. Like that could be the end for them, and they are fully at peace with that, and you can tell it when you see it in their eyes. YouTubers are thinking, how am I going to advertise this afterwards? That is the mindset that comes in. I think Eddie Hearn put it perfectly when he said that, because I was like, you know what, that makes perfect sense. I can see exactly the point of view that people are saying when it comes to YouTubers going into fight. They're thinking at the kind of publicity side of it. They're not thinking of the fact that this could be the end for me. This I could die at this point. They don't. So that's the mindset difference, and that's the main difference between YouTubers and the actual box. Because obviously Jake Paul had said, next to Eddie Hearn, saying the fact that he was going to be world champion in boxing, which is just not going to happen. It's not the fact that he's not a talented boxer. He just does. He won't get that mindset. He's not willing to put it all on the line for it. So it won't happen. But yeah, that's the kind of content creation we're kind of in now. People love the kind of boxing side of it. The controversy of F1 is always it's always going to be a good thing because it does put more eyes on there. It does advertise the fact that this is a great sport. But people, I think that one of the reasons why it was so good is people criticize F1 for being boring.
Yeah, I think that's definitely been changed by like everyone now can agree there's a lot going on,
And
which I'm thankfully glad
and
people can
who are
see.
you backing for winning it this season? Do you think?
I've fairly set in stone that it's Max, and it's a little hard. Like I like the guy, but like I won't lie, like I wouldn't mind if Charles Leclerc won it instead, but
I see. I'm
Red Bull know
personally,
how
I'm
to
not the
win.
biggest Charles Leclerc fan. Right, I'm being honest. I don't know
Yeah,
why. It's just I think he's actually probably quite a nice person. It's just I'm not. You know what? I think he's been maybe painted wrongly for me by Ferrari a little bit. Like I
this
feel like
is
I feel like he actually knows what's better, but Ferrari seem to be holding them back slightly, and I don't really know why. But
this is my like
I
sole
do like
reasoning.
I do like Leclerc. I just like Max more. But I would also love it if Sergio Perez just started winning more. You know, I can't lie to you. I like Sergio Perez. I would love him to be world champion. That would make my year if that happened. But unfortunately, I think it's very unlikely. And just a note, what would you say is your favorite track?
Ooh, oh. I, I mean, I have to support my home track of Silverstone as one, but I'm tying it at least with Spa, Belgium, because I don't know, like
I think it's a
I don't
safe
know
choice that
why.
one. I think
Every single time I see a
it's
cargo on it, it's just beautiful. I love it.
it's the speed of that kind of. I mean, do you call it second corner? Once you're past that first corner, you've got that big
Oh,
long
Rouge, yeah,
straight where you just go down and up, and it's just beautiful to see. And the
it's
speed
brilliant.
of that is unbelievable. The problem is, I've yet to see an F1 race at it, right? Because
Oh yeah,
yeah, because I
yeah,
went to go watch it for the first time last season, and the rain just stopped it, and I was
yeah,
absolutely fuming because I built myself up for it. I was ready for this F1 race, my favorite one, because I was like, "This is a beautiful track to race on in the game. I think this is going to be amazing." And then I was let down by the rain, and we were treated to this great spectacle of 2 laps behind the
yeah.
safety
It's
car.
just couple safety car rain laps in the straight, but it was such a weird thing that because Spa is so great for me. I've seen so many great moments there, like in just my own little F1 history, but I can't not love the place. So I'm glad it's to watch it again. I'm hating the fact I'm hearing rumors of it possibly being cut out of the calendar, and I'm like, as much as people probably say it might have not had the best racing sometimes, I'm like, I love it too much. I don't care what happens there. I want to race there forever. It's one of those. I've just yeah.
There's just something about it, and how you can mess up on that chicane right at the end as well.
Yeah,
Like
plenty of times I've done it.
yeah, it's just like you accelerate too early and get back in goes. And what are your thoughts on the game this year, like compared to last year?
I generally think they've done a good job with how the driving part of the game. I generally think it's been because last year I won't lie. Codemasters, I don't know what they did, but they just took 2020 and made very odd changes to the car that made no sense, and every curb spun you every 4 seconds. And I don't know what you did, but don't do that again, Codemasters. This year, I like from what I've known from how the cars are going to handle, like there would be more understeery. That if you hit the floor, like the floor jumped up, you'd lose all your grip suddenly. Like it made sense. Everything felt like as not being a full simulator game, but like I felt like it was natural. Like every car was doing what it should have done. It wasn't weird. It wasn't odd. So I think they've nailed it. The closest they have ever. I think it might have some other glitches outside, but I'm used to those. They happen all the time. But from a driving point, I think it's actually pretty good.
Yeah, the one thing I
I
really
like
like
driving it.
about it is the fact that if you make a mistake, you can save it. Like
Yeah,
that was the one thing of the previous games that I just didn't feel it had. This one I feel like it has. If you feel the back end going slightly, you can save it, which is what makes the game better for me and makes it really good. Especially with a wheel, and I mean, in fairness, I remember the first time I tried. What kind of wheel have you got, by the way?
the Logitech G920.
Yeah,
So
yeah, the
yeah,
standard one, isn't it? First time I
yeah.
remember getting that, I was blown away by the feedback that it gives you. Like, put it on a like, obviously it starts on 100, and I tried out. I go, Jesus, I felt like my table was gonna flip. Um, Because and then I thought, you know what, I'm gonna try this on 150, just to see, and yeah, I could have quit the gym. On that moment there, it's mad. It's like one thing I never expected from the wheel is how exhausted you feel afterwards.
Yes, honestly, I've had that when since I've raced now on I've raced a couple of other games like I said, the course and stuff as well. I'll do like long races and I'll just happily go away, but then I forget my arms have finite amount of energy and I need to stop after because when you race on a controller or do anything on a controller, you can sit there for probably 10 hours if you wanted. You will never feel tired other than energy just in general. But it's effort once you get into it a bit, and it's good, but realize I can't do it forever anymore.
Yeah, no, I mean, in fairness, I struggle with it because the point of view that I get very angry at games.
Don't worry, I'm similar.
Yeah, it's like, and I don't like seeing myself on stream raging, so I try not to. I mean, people love it when they see it, but I don't like seeing myself on it, so I try not to. But yeah, F1's one of the games I get very angry at because I know full well it's not the game, it's me that's the issue, and I don't have the patience to be very, very good at the game. I mean, kudos to those that do like the racing leagues and stuff like that, and are able to put in decent times. And I put in a decent lap. I think, oh, I'm amazing here, and I find that I'm last out of all my friends. I'm like, fuck. Yeah, it's like just like raging, you know. It's like it's because I even copy the best setup and everything. I'm like, yes, I am ready to do this, and I find that I'm like 4 seconds behind the next person. I'm like, wow, how?
Yeah, even I used to try and I did do the league racing for a bit and around F1 2010, and I did fairly well. And I was like, this is fun. I love competing. Like competitive stuff is great. I've always loved it in Call of Duty. Not FIFA, I never was good there, but like F1. But the problem is, at that point, I just finally got into doing content a lot more and streaming and stuff, and I realized you cannot commit yourself to like competing anywhere and practicing and also make fun content and have fun at the same time. It's one or the other, and I realized as much as I enjoyed being semi-good, not good compared to the top guns, but like semi-okay, I was like, I'll happily drop that and be worse just to have some fun. So yeah, I drive now and I realize, oh, everyone's now a second clear of me and running away from me. I was like, I used to be maybe as quick as you, but now I'm not. But I'm like, I'm having more fun sometimes, so I say it's a decent trade-off.
Yeah, it's a game I want to be really good at. It's one of those games where, like, yeah, I think I'd rather be good at F1 than FIFA, to be honest. Because, like, I am definitely better at FIFA, but I would 100% rather be good at F1 because I feel like that game almost takes more skill in many ways because you're talking about the absolute finest margins sometimes. In each one, like whether, and one thing I would wish they would add, I don't think they have it on the game right now, but this is a feature I would love kind of EA to add because they have it on FIFA, but I haven't seen it on F1, and that is an input section. So basically, on FIFA, you can have your a silhouette of your controller on the screen.
On the
yeah, and it shows what you press at each time. I would absolutely love to have that on F1, so people can see when when we press the pedals and when you turn, like just to actually see this input and like the timing of each of it. I haven't seen it yet. It might be on the game. I might not just be aware of it, but I haven't seen it.
The closest, like they've got the accelerator and the brake input kind of like on the screen, so you can kind of see what they're doing there. But I would love to have like the wheel as well showing some like exactly how much they're steering and fighting with it.
I would also love to see the downshifts and the upshifts as well. People that do it manually when they're downshifting, when they're upshifting. It's just like it's something I would like to see. For those that are watching on YouTube, I will try and put a picture of what it is on FIFA so you can see what I mean. And then it just be something similar to that on F1. I think would make it amazing.
I'd stare at that.
It would make me so much better. Like if I actually knew, he's downshifting then, right? I should try that and then practice that. I think that would make me a lot better at the game as well. So it's something I wish the game would have because it would help me improve massively. The problem with that obviously comes that you put that in and all of a sudden everyone's putting similar lap times because everyone's doing the exact same thing as the person that's the best. But that's down to speculation, because at the end of the day, you know, that person's, if you're actually in a race with that person is probably still going to win. So you know, it's like, you know, like you can only find it out for the qualifying. When you're actually in the race, there's a different kettle of fish. I mean, obviously it's carnage sometimes. Some of these races.
I'd say more than sometimes. That's my thing that annoys me more, is that you can be having a great race, everything's going well, and all of a sudden there's just one person who's just not really interested in being normal or good in that day, and your whole evening might be ruined at that point. But I honestly, I like the fun of avoiding that person. There's always one, so I like the fun of trying to get around that sometimes. A lot of nights I won't lie, and it's just a stressful evening.
Absolutely. Right, on that one, I think we'll call the podcast there. Thank you, Nanj, so much for coming on and being a brilliant guest. It was great to have you on. Team, if you haven't already, make sure you do check out Nanj's. His links and whatnot will be in the description below, so make sure that you check him out there. He's, how often are you live on Twitch?
Pretty much every weekday, Monday to Fridays, occasional weekend day as well. But yeah, weekdays is all me.
Yeah, happy days. So make sure you check out his Twitch there, and obviously check out his YouTube channels. He does have two. Obviously check out them as well. He makes some great videos, and check out the videos that we've talked about as well. And you know, leave a comment and see what you think. But yeah, team, if you are watching this on YouTube, please do subscribe. It does help out massively, and leave a comment what you think of Nanj as well. Like I said, it all helps. Every bit of engagement, I'm begging for it. Give it to me. So yeah, give me it. So and if you're on Spotify, Apple Music, your Nan's TV, make sure that you do follow the podcast, because again, that all helps me out as well. And team, I will catch you on the next one. Adios.